Hey everyone, welcome back to Chill English Channel, your cozy place to relax, improve your English, and enjoy natural conversations.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Sophia.
We're really happy you're here with us today.
Today's episode is all about something simple, but also surprisingly difficult sometimes.
Talking about your day naturally in English.
Yes, because a lot of English learners know the basic answer already.
The famous answer.
My day was fine.
The international answer.
Exactly. Safe, short, very common.
But also a little lonely sometimes.
Right, because real conversations are usually not about perfect grammar or difficult vocabulary.
They're about feelings, little moments, small stories, stress, funny accidents, tiny victories.
And honestly, your day probably has many interesting details already.
You just may not know how to describe them naturally in English yet.
That's what we'll practice together today.
We'll keep the English clear and relaxed, but a little richer than beginner level.
So if you're around B1 or B2 level, this episode should feel challenging in a comfortable way. Like stretching, but emotionally supportive stretching.
Exactly. Okay, Sophia, let's begin properly.
Go ahead.
How was your day today? Already thinking carefully.
Because I almost said good.
See, it happens to everyone.
But the honest answer is, my day started rough.
Ah, that already sounds more real.
Yeah, nothing terrible happened, but I didn't sleep well at all last night.
One of those nights where your body is tired but your brain suddenly becomes very active.
Exactly. I went to bed at a normal time, turned off the lights, got comfortable, and then suddenly my brain decided it was the perfect time to remember every embarrassing moment from the last 10 years.
Why does the brain do that at midnight?
I don't know. During the day, my brain forgets important emails, but at 1 a.m., it remembers something awkward I said in 2017.
Very helpful timing.
Very helpful.
So you couldn't fall asleep?
Not properly. I kept tossing and turning for hours.
That phrase is so useful, by the way. Tossing and turning.
Yes. If you toss and turn, you keep moving around in bed because you can't sleep comfortably.
Left side, right side, pillow too warm, blanket too cold.
Exactly. And then comes the dangerous mistake.
Looking at the clock?
Yes.
Never look at the clock.
I know, but I always do it anyway.
And then suddenly you start calculating how many hours of sleep are left.
Right. Okay, if I fall asleep now, I can still get 5 hours.
The midnight math nobody enjoys.
Exactly.
So how was your morning after that?
Honestly, I felt on edge almost immediately after waking up.
Like tense?
Yeah, small things annoyed me more than usual. My alarm sounded too loud, my coffee machine was too slow, even my socks irritated me.
Your socks were innocent, Sophia.
Maybe, but emotionally I blamed them anyway.
Fair enough.
I think lack of sleep changes everything. Even normal little problems suddenly feel dramatic.
That's true. Sometimes when I'm tired, dropping a spoon feels like a personal attack from the universe.
Yes, exactly that feeling.
Did you at least have time for breakfast?
Sort of.
Sort of sounds dangerous.
I tried to make breakfast while checking messages on my phone.
Ah, multitasking before the brain is fully awake.
Always a bad idea.
What happened?
I completely lost track of time.
Oh no.
I thought only 5 minutes had passed.
But actually?
22 minutes.
Phones create time travel in the mornings.
They really do. 1 second you're checking one message and suddenly you're reading about somebody's dog in another country.
Meanwhile, your coffee's cold and your morning is disappearing.
Exactly.
I had a similar morning, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I nearly dozed off after turning off my alarm.
That's the most dangerous moment.
Very dangerous.
I'll just close my eyes for 1 more minute.
And then, suddenly your whole schedule is ruined.
Every single time.
This morning, I honestly couldn't tell if I was awake or still dreaming.
That confused, half-awake feeling.
Yeah, I picked up my phone and stared at it for maybe 30 seconds before realizing it was upside down.
That's actually impressive.
Thank you. My brain was working at incredible speed today.
Honestly, though, mornings really shape the feeling of the whole day.
They do. If the morning feels rushed, the stress sometimes follows you everywhere.
Exactly. And I think many English learners only learn how to describe actions.
Like, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went to work.
Right. But natural conversation usually includes emotions too.
Like, I woke up exhausted.
Or I rushed around all morning.
Or, I couldn't focus because I felt on edge.
Those little emotional details make your English sound much more alive.
And honestly, they help people connect with you better too.
Definitely, because everybody understands tired mornings.
Sadly, yes.
Very sadly.
You know what else happens to me on stressful mornings?
What?
I start doing everything faster for no reason.
Oh, I know that energy.
Walking faster, eating faster, typing faster.
Like your body thinks speed will solve the stress.
Exactly. But usually I just end up forgetting things.
Same. This morning, I walked into the kitchen holding my phone, then spent 2 minutes searching for my phone.
Please tell me you eventually found it in your hand.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's actually comforting somehow.
Why?
Because it makes me feel less alone.
We're building a very tired community here today.
A sleepy but supportive community.
Exactly.
So when mornings start badly for you now, what helps?
Honestly, small pauses.
What kind of pauses?
Sometimes I sit quietly for 1 minute before checking my phone.
That already sounds healthier than my routine.
It helps more than I expected, because if I grab my phone immediately, my brain starts racing too early.
Messages, news, notifications, reminders.
Exactly. My mind suddenly feels crowded before I even leave bed.
That word is perfect, actually. Crowded.
Yeah, not physically crowded, mentally crowded.
Too many thoughts in one small space.
Right, so now I try to begin the day a little more slowly.
Calm mornings feel powerful in a quiet way.
They really do. Even making tea slowly can change my mood.
Tea is emotional support in liquid form.
Honestly true.
But of course, calm mornings don't always survive very long.
No, because eventually the real world arrives.
Emails,
Notifications,
meetings,
unexpected problems.
and somehow everything becomes urgent at the exact same time.
Honestly, I think mornings would feel less stressful if problems arrived one at a time.
But life loves group projects.
It really does.
One email becomes 5. One small task suddenly creates 3 more tasks.
And somehow people always message you at the exact moment you finally start focusing.
That timing is incredible.
It's almost artistic.
Very true.
Today was one of those days for me, actually. Around 10 in the morning, everything became chaotic out of nowhere.
Uh-oh. What happened?
I was trying to finish one important task peacefully.
Dangerous dream already.
Very dangerous. Then suddenly, my phone started buzzing non-stop.
Messages?
Messages, emails, schedule changes, questions from coworkers.
The full package.
Exactly. And every message sounded urgent.
I feel stressed just hearing this story.
Same. At one point, I opened 4 conversations at the same time and immediately forgot what I was doing.
That's the modern brain experience.
Honestly, yes. Sometimes I think our brains were not designed for this many notifications.
Definitely not. I can handle one problem calmly.
Same.
But 5 small problems at once suddenly make me feel overwhelmed.
That's a great word, actually. Overwhelmed.
Yeah, when there's simply too much happening emotionally or mentally.
Exactly. Not necessarily impossible things, just too many things together.
Like your brain has 20 tabs open and one of them is playing mysterious music.
Yes, and you can't find which tab it is.
That tiny stress somehow becomes huge.
So true.
What did you do after all the messages started?
At first, honestly, nothing useful.
Very relatable answer.
I kept jumping from task to task without finishing anything.
Ah, fake productivity.
Exactly. I looked busy, but mentally I was just spinning in circles.
I do that too sometimes. I answer one email, then half read another email, then suddenly I'm checking the weather for no reason.
Stress creates very strange behavior.
It really does.
Then, eventually, I realized I needed to slow down mentally before I could work properly again.
That realization is important.
Yeah, so I closed extra tabs, put my phone face down, took a deep breath, and decided to knuckle down.
I love that phrase, knuckle down.
Me too. It sounds strong but natural.
If you knuckle down, you stop avoiding things and finally focus seriously.
Right. Like making a clear decision. Okay, enough panic. Now let's actually work.
Exactly.
And honestly, once I focused on just one task, everything started feeling more manageable.
That happens to me too. The stress often comes from trying to hold the entire day inside your head at once.
Yes, but humans are actually better with one step at a time.
Even emotionally.
Definitely.
You know what's funny though?
What?
Sometimes when I'm extremely busy, I suddenly become weirdly calm.
Really?
Yeah, like my brain finally accepts defeat.
That's actually kind of beautiful.
It's like my brain says, well, there are too many problems now, so let's relax emotionally.
Honestly, that sounds healthier than panic.
Sometimes it works surprisingly well.
I wish my brain reacted like that.
What does your brain do instead?
My brain becomes dramatic.
In what way?
Tiny problems suddenly sound huge inside my head.
Give me an example.
Okay, earlier today, I accidentally sent a message with a typo.
Normal human behavior.
Rationally, yes.
Emotionally?
Emotionally, my brain whispered, "Your career is over."
Oh, that escalated quickly.
Very quickly.
Tired brains are incredibly dramatic.
Honestly, sometimes all we need is water and sleep, but our brain acts like we're surviving a disaster movie.
Exactly.
And then comes the afternoon.
Ah, yes, the dangerous energy crash.
Around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, my brain starts slowing down completely.
Same here. My concentration suddenly disappears.
It's like my thoughts become softer and slower.
And reading simple sentences suddenly feels difficult.
Exactly. I read the same line 3 times and still understand nothing.
That's usually the moment I start making coffee number 3.
Coffee becomes emotional support again.
Always.
But honestly, afternoon tiredness feels different from morning tiredness.
I know what you mean.
Morning tiredness feels sleepy. Afternoon tiredness feels mentally exhausted.
Yes, like your brain used all its energy already.
Exactly. Decisions become harder, conversations feel heavier.
Even replying to simple messages feels like work.
So true. Earlier this week, I was so tired in the afternoon that I nearly replied "love you" to a work email.
Oh, please tell me you noticed before sending it.
Thankfully, yes. That could have changed the workplace atmosphere a little.
Slightly.
Honestly, though, I think people underestimate how much mental energy daily life requires now.
Definitely. Even normal days can feel heavy sometimes.
Especially when your attention is constantly interrupted.
Yes, that interruption feeling is exhausting.
Because your brain never fully rests.
Exactly. Even during breaks, many people still scroll through messages or social media.
Which doesn't always feel like real rest.
Sometimes it actually makes me feel worse.
Same here. I finish scrolling and suddenly my brain feels noisy. Noisy is the perfect word.
Too many voices, ideas, images, information.
So now I try to take small, real breaks during busy days.
What kind of breaks?
Tiny things. Walking outside for 5 minutes, stretching, making tea slowly, looking out the window for a minute.
That sounds peaceful.
It helps more than I expected, honestly.
Sometimes a much-needed break doesn't need to be long.
Exactly. It just needs to feel real.
I had one of those moments yesterday, actually.
What happened?
I'd been working for hours and feeling completely swamped all afternoon.
Swamped is such a useful word.
Yeah, stronger than just busy.
If you're swamped, you have too many things to handle at once.
Exactly. And yesterday, my brain felt full.
That heavy, crowded feeling again.
Right. So finally, I stepped outside for a few minutes.
And?
Honestly, nothing magical happened.
Honest answer.
The problem still existed. My emails didn't disappear. My work didn't finish itself.
Sadly.
Sadly. But my breathing slowed down, my shoulders relaxed, my thoughts became clearer.
Sometimes that small reset changes everything.
It really does.
I think adults forget they're allowed to pause sometimes.
True. Many people feel guilty for resting.
Even though exhausted people usually work worse anyway.
Exactly. Rest is productive in its own way.
That's actually an important lesson for language learning too.
Oh, definitely.
Some learners try to study while mentally exhausted.
And then they feel frustrated because nothing stays in their memory.
Right, but tired brains learn more slowly.
Gentle consistency usually works better than forcing yourself aggressively.
I completely agree.
Also, can we talk about one very specific afternoon struggle?
Which one?
Accidentally zoning out during conversations.
Oh no.
Have you ever nodded politely while secretly realizing you stopped listening 30 seconds ago?
Unfortunately, yes.
It's the worst feeling.
Especially when the person suddenly asks a question.
Exactly. And then you panic internally while trying to look calm externally.
Human communication is difficult sometimes.
Very difficult.
Honestly, though, I think everyone has these days.
Definitely.
Days where your energy feels low, your brain feels crowded, and everything takes a little more effort than usual.
And learning how to describe those feelings naturally in English is really useful.
Because those are real conversations.
Exactly. Not textbook conversations. Human conversations.
And eventually, after all the stress and noise and rushing around,
The evening finally arrives.
Honestly, evening feels different after a long day.
Definitely.
Especially after busy mornings and stressful afternoons.
It's like your whole body finally says, okay, we survived.
Exactly.
I think evenings are interesting because sometimes your body stops working before your brain does.
That is so true.
Physically, you're home, maybe you changed clothes, maybe you're eating dinner.
But mentally, you're still replying to imaginary emails.
Yes, your brain is still sitting at the desk.
I used to carry stress into the evening without realizing it.
What changed?
I started noticing how noisy my mind felt at night.
Noisy again.
Yeah, thoughts everywhere. Random worries, replay conversations, planning tomorrow before today even ends.
I know that feeling very well.
And then suddenly you're lying in bed again, tossing and turning.
The cycle begins again.
Exactly.
So what helps you switch off now?
Honestly, small rituals.
Like what?
Making tea, cleaning one tiny area of my room, stretching for a few minutes, listening to calm music.
Those little routines tell your brain the stressful part of the day is over.
Exactly. They create a softer landing emotionally.
I like that phrase, a softer landing.
Me too.
My evening routine is honestly very simple.
Simple is good.
I usually dim the lights, put my phone away for a while, and sit quietly for 10 minutes.
Just sitting quietly sounds surprisingly difficult these days.
It really does.
Most people reach for their phone automatically the second silence appears.
Including me sometimes.
Same.
But I've noticed something important lately.
What's that?
Quiet moments help me feel at ease again.
That phrase is beautiful. At ease.
Yeah, calm, relaxed, not emotionally tight anymore.
I think many learners know the word relaxed, but at ease sounds softer and more natural sometimes.
Definitely. You can say, after dinner, I finally felt at ease.
Or talking to close friends makes me feel at ease.
Exactly.
Honestly, I think peaceful evenings are underrated.
Completely underrated.
Social media often makes life look exciting all the time.
But real happiness is sometimes just quiet comfort.
A calm room, warm tea, no urgent notifications.
Maybe clean pajamas if life is going really well.
That's true luxury now.
Fresh pajamas and emotional stability.
The dream. And honestly, this is what makes daily conversations interesting in English.
Right, not perfect stories. Real stories.
Exactly. Small details, feelings, tiny moments people recognize.
Because everybody has stressful mornings.
Everybody gets overwhelmed sometimes.
Everybody needs breaks.
And everybody wants to feel more at ease at the end of the day.
That's why answers become more natural when you include emotion.
Instead of saying, my day was busy,
You can say, to be honest, I felt overwhelmed this morning, but things got better later.
or I was completely swamped in the afternoon, so I took a much-needed break.
Those answers feel human.
Exactly.
Which actually brings us perfectly to something very useful.
The conversation starters.
Yes, because many learners don't struggle with ideas.
They struggle with beginnings.
Exactly. Someone asks, how was your day? And suddenly your brain becomes empty.
Completely empty.
So let's give everyone a few natural openings they can use immediately.
The first one is to be honest.
Very natural, very common.
You use it when you want to give the real answer instead of the automatic polite answer.
Like, to be honest, I woke up exhausted today.
Or, to be honest, work felt stressful this afternoon.
It instantly makes the conversation sound more personal.
Exactly.
The next one is, funnily enough.
I love this one.
Me too. It introduces something surprising or unexpected.
Like, funnily enough, the best part of my day was my train ride home.
Or, funnily enough, I felt calmer after my busiest meeting.
It adds personality immediately.
Exactly.
Next, out of nowhere.
The dramatic storyteller phrase.
Yes.
You use it when something suddenly happens.
Like, out of nowhere, my schedule completely changed.
Or, out of nowhere, I started feeling really tired.
Very natural phrase for daily conversation.
Definitely.
Another useful one is looking back on it.
That one sounds thoughtful.
Yeah, reflective, calm.
Like, looking back on it, I think I needed a break more than I realized.
Or, looking back on it, the day wasn't actually that bad.
I really like that one.
Me too.
And finally, all in all.
Perfect for summaries.
Exactly. You use it to give your final feeling about the whole day.
Like, all in all, it was stressful but productive.
Or, all in all, I'm proud of how I handled things today.
That sounds very natural and confident.
Definitely.
Okay, Jake, quick challenge.
Oh no.
Very small challenge.
Fine, I'm ready.
How was your day today?
To be honest, it started rough because I didn't sleep well.
Nice.
Then work got busy out of nowhere and I felt a little overwhelmed.
Very natural already.
But looking back on it, I handled things better than I expected.
Beautiful.
All in all, I'm tired, but I feel more at ease now.
See, that sounds like a real conversation.
And none of those sentences were extremely difficult.
Exactly. Natural English is often simple English with emotion.
That's such an important lesson.
Before we finish, let's quickly revisit some useful phrases from today's episode.
Our little word tour,
First, toss and turn.
meaning you can't sleep properly and keep moving around in bed.
Example, I tossed and turned all night before the meeting.
Next, doze off.
Meaning to fall asleep lightly or accidentally.
I nearly dozed off on the sofa after work.
On edge.
Feeling tense or nervous.
I felt on edge all morning.
Swamped.
Extremely busy.
I've been swamped with work this week.
Knuckled down.
To focus seriously and work hard.
I finally knuckled down and finished the project.
At ease.
Calm and relaxed.
After my evening walk, I felt more at ease.
And finally, much needed break.
A break you really needed emotionally or physically.
That quiet cup of tea was a much needed break.
Honestly, these phrases become powerful when you connect them to your real life.
Exactly. Don't try to memorize everything perfectly.
Just choose one or two phrases you genuinely want to use.
Then slowly make them part of your everyday English.
And remember, your English does not need to sound perfect to sound meaningful.
Real communication is about connection, not perfection.
We would love to hear from you now.
Yes. Tell us in the comments, how was your day today?
But try not to answer with only fine.
Give fine a little vacation.
Use one phrase from today's episode.
Maybe, to be honest, I felt overwhelmed this morning.
Or, all in all, it was a peaceful day.
Small, honest sentences are enough.
They really are.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Chill English Channel.
We hope this episode helped you feel more comfortable expressing your real daily life in English.
Take care of your English.
And take care of yourself, too.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jake.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.